Hello, yo, it's Daniel. Uh, I'm planning on making the video for a couple of days now, but I'm like, let me get up and get ready. So I get up, start my day, and get distracted, and the video doesn't happen. So I just got up, and I'm like, you know what, let me just make the video. So here we are. The topic of the day is why we no longer feel valued in our relationships. It's kind of a continuance of the loyalty versus convenience video that I recently put out. Uh, so there's a couple of things that come into play here. One is the overstimulation factor because we're constantly interacting, with the TikToks, the Facebooks, the all these digital mediums, the YouTubes, So we're constantly getting all this stuff, and we get overstimulated. But like a drug, we keep feeding into that cycle because that's exactly what it is. It's a digital addiction. So, because we're so overstimulated, when the people in our lives actually do reach out, whether a call, text, or whatever, a lot of people tend either to not respond, to just ignore it, because they just quote unquote need a minute, or they'll take extended periods of time between responses. So, from the side of the overstimulated, they're not being unfair because they're overstimulated, they need a minute, and that person needs to realize that they're stressed out and they can't drop everything just to cater to them. That's how they justify it. And while it's valid, at the same time, this person also is the one that made a point to keep going to TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and all this stuff. They kept feeding into that cycle of getting overstimulated, and everybody suffers from it. So let's look at it from the perspective of the person that's reaching out. So, say I've had a good day, and I want to tell my friend about it. I want to share this joyful experience. I had a good laugh, good time. I want to share that. I want to get them laughing, right? So, I try to call them. They don't answer. Like, well, I know they're not at work right now. What the hell? These are the same people that anytime you're around them, they're constantly checking their phone. So, like, fine, whatever. So I text, hey, give me a call when you get a minute. Like an hour later, they text, what's up? I'm like, well, I said give me a call, but you text back. All right, apparently you're illiterate now, whatever. It's like, well, I had a good day, I was going to tell you about it. So I asked you to give me a call back. I'm like, yeah, I was busy. They text us back, they don't call you. I'm like, fine, whatever. So you text back, and when you tell a story, you have the pauses, you wait for the responses, you try to make an experience out of it. That's what helps with a lot of these exchanges. So you don't tell them everything straight up in the text. You try to lead into a conversation, a give and take. So you send your first text, and it takes them like, half an hour before they respond. Oh, yeah, cool. How am I supposed to feel? I don't feel valued in that exchange. I feel dismissed, I feel disregarded, I feel disrespected. And that's, when I have something good to say. If I'm stressed out or upset, and I don't even want to talk about what I'm upset about, I want to have an exchange with somebody so I have something else to focus on. And it takes them an hour to respond with a K or cool or whatever. How am I supposed to feel like a valued part of their life in that? I don't. I feel dismissed. I feel upset. And this leads me into that cycle of going to the Facebooks and all that crap so I can continue to be bombarded by the narcissism and neurotic mentalities that have a tendency to drive that platform. So instead of getting the interaction and positive feedback from my friend, then I get it basically to feed into the very cycle that caused them not to respond in the first place. It's I get that it is more convenient with texting because it's more disconnected. You don't have to drop everything. You just look at it, you respond, and then you go back to your life. But if you want people in your life, they deserve to be treated as more than just a text message. And that is what this world has been doing. Now, maybe not everybody's as bad about it, and maybe it's just the people in my life, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's pretty rampant at this point. People are feeding too much into the digital addiction. They're becoming overstimulated, but desperate to maintain that level of stimulation, which is how addiction works. So anytime they start actually calming down, they start feeling, in essence, withdrawal, and they'll go right back to that source. They'll pick up their phone, they'll get on their computer, turn whatever, and they're maintaining this high level of overstimulated. Well, there's a couple issues here too, because especially people that get on games for hours, and then they don't want to deal with anything else for the rest of the day. Because during that game time, yeah, it's fun, it's exciting. They're getting these adrenaline and dopamine drops in their system. They're just like, yeah. Well, the problem is when you're tired, adrenaline is how your body maintains activity. A lot of people that are restless sleepers, especially if they stay up later than usual and they don't sleep very well, it's because adrenaline. You get that adrenaline into your system. You don't relax well with adrenaline in your system, so you don't sleep well. But when you're doing these extended gaming sessions or whatever, you're burning through your day's adrenaline in a rather short order. And by the time you get off the game, you're pretty much exhausted. You don't have any reserves to keep going. And then people are like, finally, they're off the game. I can talk to them. And they go talk to you, and you're just overstimulated and tired, and you don't want anything to do with them. And then, of course, they feel rejected and dismissed because they were waiting for you to get off the game because you ignored them while you were playing. And now you dismiss them because you're tired and don't feel like talking to anybody. Look at how these mediums are destroying our relationships. They're making everybody feel overstimulated, tired, dismissed, undervalued, and unwanted. Because we are hiding from our own lives in these distractions, and we're not even trying to find a balance. Now, I'm not saying, that it's imperative you cut all of these out completely, because with today's standards, that's unrealistic. I've personally deleted my Facebook probably half a dozen times at this point because I get so tired of this cycle. But the problem is, without a Facebook, people still don't answer calls. They barely respond to text most of the time. You get lonely. People don't give you anything else. So you end up going back to these toxic social media platforms just so you can tell yourself you're not alone, even though you're still not really interacting with people most of the time. I'll send people direct messages, and a lot of the times they're just ignored, or I don't hear back from them for extended periods of times. It's even worse than texting half the time because they just don't check it. Because they get so many trolls and other people that do that just to be idiots that they never even see my message. So to them, I never talk to them. And to me, I reached out and they ignored me. So you can see how these mediums are not working the way they should. It's not even social media, it's just distraction media. The social has been removed from it because we're so overstimulated that we have no time or energy for it. We need to start working on a better balance. It sucks, it's not going to be fun, especially once you've become accustomed to spending extended time with these things. To limit yourself sucks. It's like a diet. A diet with a strong addiction, even worse than just food, even though food's kind of an addiction thing, necessity, but addiction thing. Anyway, so it could be something as simple as, with any conversation, like one of my things, if it's going to take more than 5 texts, I'd rather you call. And I've told people that. And they don't call, they just keep texting. They don't listen. Again, that's another thing that makes somebody feel undervalued, not important. I said this is important to me and you just ignored it and you just kept unleashing on me without any consideration of my response. because it's just become a way of life for people. They keep everybody at a distance and just seek to get what you want out of it. And that's not how you should treat your friends or loved ones. That's a lot of the frustration I've been feeling trying to come to terms with this loyalty over convenience dynamic that's been going on. Is we should feel important in our exchanges. We should. Otherwise, why are we interacting with these people? We should feel like we matter. But we're stacking the deck against us. Because, especially from these digital distractions, we're getting massive amounts of stimulation, dopamine, adrenaline, so we don't have anything left for the people in our lives. And even when we try, we go to talk to our friend. How can they compete with all the entertainment and all that stuff of this phone or this computer? They can't. It's not realistic. So we keep favoring these distractions over the people because we get more out of it. And we're not acknowledging the quality over quantity dynamic here. We're not investing what matters. We're investing in avoidance. And it's destroying society. Anyway, like I said, been planning on making the video for a couple of days. Just kept getting distracted with stuff. Some of the very things I'm talking about, games and social media and all that stuff. I'll be like, let me check my messages and make a video. And then, get on there. I'll laugh and I'll share some meme, whatever. I'll comment or respond to people. Because one of my things is if somebody makes effort to acknowledge me, it's important to me to acknowledge them. Even if it's just liking their comment. Acknowledging, hey, I saw your comment. Here's me responding, hey, I appreciate it. Type thing, And a lot of times that doesn't happen. Like the number of times people have told me they've seen my stuff and they liked it, but they never like or comment or acknowledge it in any way. So they get their side of the interaction out of it. I don't. They're entertained. I feel ignored. And people don't even consider that anymore. Anyway, so I'm going to end the video now because, like I said, I just woke up, so obviously my systems are not fully booted, I suppose you could say at this point. But I figured I kept not getting the video done, so I'm just going to do it and put it up, whatever. So y'all have a nice evening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.